Welcome to the A to D podcast. I'm David Hain, and I'm the founder of From Addict to Disciple, and I'm glad to have you on board for the journey of our new endeavor, the A to D podcast. In these podcasts, we're going to talk about all kinds of addictions: alcohol, drugs, sexual addictions, eating addictions, the addiction to power and anger and rage, gambling, you name it. We're open to any suggestions that you might have for podcasts, so feel free to comment and give us some ideas, or follow any of the links by being able to send an Instagram message or a WhatsApp message, email, whatever's convenient for you. We're here to respond in any way we can. Today's podcast is entitled, My Friend is in Trouble. Millions of individuals and families and communities are affected by addiction all around the world. Big cities, small towns, rural areas, you name it. We're all touched in one way or another by addiction in our family or being victims of crimes that people commit in their addiction. And worldwide, less than 20% of addicts are in treatment. Many addicts don't know where to turn to for help. They fear that if they open up to their families, they'll just be rejected again, as they've been rejected so many times before. Addicts fear that if they open up to counselors, that the counselor could report the crimes that they're committing to the police, and they'll end up in jail. Addicts find themselves riddled with hopelessness and futility, and wondering, will I ever be one to make it? Will I ever get out of this addiction and into recovery? I've seen so many friends die in their addiction. I've lost so much in my addiction already. Can I ever break free of this snare that has closed its vice-like grip on me? The result for many addicts is separation from friends and family, isolation, and eventually being silent and almost unviewed by people in the world. Well, how do we break down this wall of silence? How do we end the separation between addicts and their loved ones, between their friends and family, between the community that they live in, which is in fear of them, and more walls go up? Well, it's on us who care about the addicts to take that first step. We have to hold that conversation with the addict, to be able to tell them what we're seeing and what's going on. I can see some of you shaking your heads right now. Yeah, the addicts are going to react with denial and blame shifting. They might storm out of the conversation before it ever becomes a meeting, might slam the door behind them and say some words out of anger that we hoped not to hear. Or if they sit around to listen to part of the conversation, they might say, "What's the big deal? I don't have a problem. What's your problem?" And we can end up as the people with doubts. Here we are trying to help, and now confusion sets in us, and we wonder, am I being overprotective? Or am I being overreactive to something that I saw? Did I see it the right way? Maybe my friend's just going through a phase and I should just let them go through it. Well, I'm here, and A to D is here to validate your initial concerns. You have watched the changes in behavior. You've noticed and been affected by the bad decisions and the poor judgment of your friends and loved ones. And if the cycle of addiction is not interrupted, the outcomes are going to be the addicts hurting themselves or hurting you and others. It could lead to incarceration and even death. So how do we hold this conversation? How do we get in that position to sit down with our friend, with our loved one, and begin to share our thoughts? Well, we can't come blaming or judging or wagging the finger and accusing the addict. I'm going to go through 6 steps of holding this all-important conversation. First, we start by saying, I care. I care about you as a person. I care about our friendship. I care about you as my son, my daughter, my spouse, my cousin. I love you. Our relationship is important to me, and I never want to do or say anything to jeopardize our relationship. The second step is to say, I see. So here's where we just calmly state what we see. I see your eyes are bloodshot, and I wonder what's going on. I smell alcohol on your breath. I see you having mood swings or your agitation. I see that you're not looking after your personal hygiene. You've lost a lot of weight. You're not bathing. Whatever it is that you see. Then the third step is to say how that makes you feel. So I see these things and I wonder, I feel that maybe you've started to get caught up in an addiction. I see things that make me wonder if you might be using drugs or getting caught up in pornography or gambling. I see your rage and anger, and I feel that you might be doing some drugs that are creating these mood swings. Then the fourth phase is to say, I'm listening. So as soon as you state what you feel, before they have a chance to erupt in denial, say, however, I'm here to listen. I want to hear what you have to say about the things that I've been seeing and my questions. Because what you have to say is important to me. So I'm listening. And then you just go silent and listen to hear what the addict needs to say. That's the fourth step. The fifth step is to say what you want. So here you would reinforce, I want you to be whole again. I want you to have the future that you want. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be part of the family. I want you to be having fun with friends and not be caught up in isolation. And the sixth step and the final step is to state the things that you can promise that you will do and you will be. So here it might be, I will always be your friend. I will always be your mom or dad. I will always be your brother. I will always be there to support you in any way that makes sense. I can't be your bank. I can't give you money. Be able to say those things that you cannot do. but to reinforce those things that you will do. Hopefully this will help you organize this all-important conversation. A to D has worked with over 30,000 addicts and their families all around the world in answering questions just like these. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We made it through our first one. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, share with your friends, follow us on Instagram, and we hope to have you on board for the next episode coming in a couple of days.